live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, hello, hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, a.k.a. the Advantage Coach.
This is episode 84 of the Field to the Real podcast. We are chugging along.
Yes, thank you, God.
It feels so close, but yet so far off.
It does, but it won't be long, and we'll be like, dang.
Right, that went by so fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that means we're actually at, at 4 months officially
4 months,
out.
yep.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when we go fast.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right in. Who's really right?
Uh-huh.
Because we were excited when Cam Newton got picked up by the New England Patriots. And the first couple of weeks.
We were? I'm sorry.
You weren't excited?
I was excited he got picked up, but see, you put
right.
that
Oh,
by
yeah. Oh,
the
okay.
New
By the
England
Patriots. Okay. Yeah. So that part, I should have excluded that part. But we were excited that he got signed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was only excited that it was the Patriots because it meant I was who's really right for that time that we. But as far as the Patriots, you know what I'm saying, getting Cam Newton, like, Lord.
Yeah.
But he looked pretty good in the first few weeks. They started off 2-1 with their only loss being to the Seahawks, I believe. And then they just come tumbling downhill, losing 3 straight. And that's what's brought about this who's really right. Is Cam in over his head in New England? And a more appropriate question would be, is this the wrong system or are there chemistry issues?
Yeah.
And as always, but not really always, ladies first.
Such a gentleman. Thank you, sir. But so let me start out by saying my hope and prayer is that everything's wrong that we're about to say or that I'm about to say. And that this is just athlete being an athlete and not being completely forthright and transparent about how COVID has affected him.
Yeah.
Because some of the throws I saw this past weekend, it was like weak. Like you were too weak to get the ball where it needed to go, or just not very mobile like I'm used to see. I don't know. Like, right. I don't know. But that is just my hope. I mean, not that I hope that you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I hope that it's that and it's not what I'm about to say. Because I feel like this is mad scientist-esque. I'll say it that way. In that you are never going to adjust based on who you have. You want them to adjust to your system.
Right.
And Cam Newton and Tom Brady are not the same type quarterback. And you need to recognize that you don't have Tom Brady back there. It just was this perfect world that made everything fit together for you, luckily, with a Tom Brady, that he was able to come into your system and it worked well. So I'm speaking about less about Cam and more about the system, in that I just don't feel like he feels comfortable being asked to be Tom Brady-esque when he's Cam Newton. And so I feel like it's double-edged sword for him. The system isn't good. And yeah, he was, as you mentioned in our production meeting, he got picked up right before the season really started. He never really had, even though nobody had training camp really, he didn't have any real opportunity to build any chemistry with the players that he has around him. And so I feel like it's a double-edged sword for him. Like, it's a lose-lose. You're in a system where the coach is rigid and will not make any adjustments based on what's in the personnel that's in front of him. And then you've just not even because Cam is so different in his demeanor than Tom Brady. Cam's kind of silly, you know what I mean? Like, he's a playful type guy. And I don't know, I imagine Tom Brady has that part of him, but I think it's all business when he's at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's something even the players are having to adjust to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not that all about business type dude. Like, he out here dancing and playing. Like, you'll see him, they'll show him at practice, and he'll just be, you know, like the music. That wouldn't have been Tom Brady. You know, that would not have been Tom Brady. And so all of this is just, I don't know. It's just not a good thing. Not a good thing for him. Not a good thing for him.
Well, so I expected some adversity with this team. And I think one of the big things now is we are comparing the Patriots season to the Buccaneers season, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we look at the Patriots, the team, the one thing we have to acknowledge is that next to the Jets, they're just the worst team in the division. Right? Like, when we look at the amount of talent that the Bills have, that the Dolphins have, that the Jets have, the Patriots just don't have a lot of talent. And so I think the thing is, because they may have been able to overcome some talent issues because of Tom Brady, right? And not just Tom Brady, but you spoke to it, continuity, right? Because Tom Brady has pretty much been in the system that Bill Belichick has wanted to run. And so Josh McDaniels, right? Is it Josh McDaniels?
Yes.
McRoberts, McDaniels.
I know, yes. Josh
so
McDaniels.
While he has had two different stints in New England, the system pretty much stayed the same, right? And so being in the system for 20 years, there are some things that Tom Brady knows about the system that Cam Newton isn't going to know. Now, what I will say is I disagree. I feel like they've tailored a little bit of the system to Cam, because obviously Tom Brady's not doing any quarterback runs. They've incorporated, you know, him running, using that strength of his, because you would have to. That's a strength of his. I don't think that there is a throw that Tom Brady can make that Cam Newton can't. And it feels like, if you look, like, I think I was looking at the Seahawks game, the passing attack felt simplified, right? And that's probably more to the fact that Pete Carroll, his defense is going to line up in cover 3 and say, beat our cover 3. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to try to do a whole bunch of tricky stuff with coverages and disguising and stuff like that. And so, you know, that was one of Cam's better games. But I think that as you're not going to get that from every defense, you know, and as time has gone along, the nuance of, you know, the position and what happens with, you know, defenses, like, I just don't think Cam has had enough time to grasp all of it. you know, and that's true. They had a little training camp, but I mean, you look at some of these other teams, I ain't gonna say no names, Tom Brady. They were having, you know, mini camps at high schools, right?
That's
you know,
right.
And so, you know, Cam didn't get that. He got signed at the last minute. And so he really has had to learn on the fly. And I think that with that in mind, I don't think that it's necessarily a chemistry issue from the standpoint of he can't get on the same page, or that the system is too complicated for him, or I just think that he hasn't had enough time in it. And I think as the weeks go, starting with this week, I think as the weeks go, we'll see his play pick up. But you made an interesting point about COVID. I didn't even think about that because, you know, he's made it a point not to mention COVID when talking about his struggles. But
yeah,
I can imagine it with people speaking about like some of the effects afterwards. That could possibly be playing a role in, you know, how he's playing. So
absolutely. And just being an athlete, he's not gonna be like, man, I'm so tired, or I'm winded, or because that means you probably gonna put me on the bench, and so I don't want that. So I'm just gonna go out here and suck.
and the media. And the media is going to spin it like, oh, Cam's making excuses, even though it's COVID.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah,
so
but
it's a double-edged sword.
It is. And I'm sorry, I took your kind of where you. I'm sorry. It was just, to me.
No, it was
really
right there.
Yeah, like I'm like, yeah, no, I feel. But if I'm being honest, I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah,
I do. I feel like above all of my disdain for Bill Belichick's rigidness and inability to come to the light, Caroline.
Yeah.
I still feel like Cam is such a competitor that he would do what he needed to do, even in the system, and even not having necessarily the best, to your point, the best talent around him. Not that hasn't been his case in Carolina a few times. You know what I mean? So it's not like he had superstars in Carolina for most of the time that he's been here, that he was here. So but I feel like COVID is playing a bigger factor right now that he just isn't talking about.
Yeah.
He just really, I've never seen Cam Newton throw a ball a dud the way that I saw one of them throws. And it just fell like 5 yards short.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't the route, or was it you?
Do you remember the season he was having issues with his shoulder, and then he just ended the season and had the shoulder surgery? You remember that?
Yeah.
I think before that is when I saw him really be like off target. And he hasn't always been a very accurate quarterback. I want to say he only had maybe 1 or 2 seasons where he passed for above 60% completion rate. But like the way he's missing is a thing, you know?
It just don't look like Cam. I mean,
and he's had some drop passes, like some of them receivers drop passes.
I mean, that's par for the course. But I'm saying, it looked weak, like a duck. And he got a strong arm, so it wasn't even. It was like a mid-level. It was a mid-range pass. This ain't like you shooting it down the field. Like this might have been like 10, 15 yards, and the ball just died. Like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, so.
And he has a strong arm, so we know.
He gonna zing it past you before he let it die in front of you.
Right.
Like most of the time, if you look at the passes that get dropped, it's the Michael Vick syndrome. Michael Vick never had touch on his ball. It was just, you better figure out how you gonna catch it, because it's a missile and it's coming at you.
It's coming in hot.
So that kind of thing. So I don't know though, but
well, Larry, if guys, please, you know, I appreciate those of you this week who really participated in our Who's Really Right.
I ain't even gloat today. You see that?
Nah, you just did a little gloating just now. That was the people who are watching just saw that. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Stephanie was Who's Really Right last week. The Steelers just eked past the Titans.
It's a
win.
I don't care what you call it. Yeah.
but we appreciate for those of you who participated on Twitter and for those of you who participated on our IG Live.
IG.
You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you for participating. So
Yeah.
You guys, again, let us know who's really right. It's going to be on Twitter. It's going to be on IG, on our IG story. So just let us know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras